Hi guys, so today's video is going to be a book review of Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about this book. It has been talked about all over the place recently, and for good reason, because this book was really fantastic. It's in a world where there used to be magic. There were people that could use magic, and then there were people that couldn't. And so many years ago, magic disappeared. It was taken away, and then anybody above a certain age who had the ability to use magic was killed. It's a multiple point of view story, and one of our main perspectives is the daughter of a woman who was killed because she had the ability to use magic. The daughter would have had the ability to use magic had magic not been taken away, but she is now just treated like dirt. She's treated like an animal. Because of this, Zaylee is her name. She learns how to fight because that way she has at least some means of defending herself and her family. Despite having these abilities to defend herself, that doesn't really help her protect her father from being overtaxed to the point where they can't afford it. And so her and her brother go try to find a means to earn some money at the beginning of the book, and that ends up leading us into some other characters' perspectives. Amari is the daughter of the king. She is a princess, and her father is the man that is responsible for slaughtering all these people that have the ability to use magic. And she finds out that her father is in possession of something that may allow magic to come back, and she witnesses something very tragic and very violent happen to one of her chambermaids, essentially one of her servants that she really cared about. This person also had the ability to use magic like Zaylee, and after she witnesses this terrible act, she kind of decides that she's going to go against her father, and she's going to do what she can to help. Amari and Zaylee's paths end up crossing, and they together decide that they are going to try to do what they can to bring magic back and kind of ease some of the troubles that her father has caused. Along with getting Amari and Zaylee's perspectives, we also get the perspective of Amari's brother Inan. And Inan, unlike Amari, is not eager to help those who have the possibility of getting magic back. He wants to be the perfect son, he's in line to become the next king, and he wants to do everything he can to please his father, basically, and in such a way that he ends up having this very twisted mind, even though deep down he actually has a pretty good heart. Of these three main perspectives, I found Inan's to be definitely the most interesting because he's at such a crossroads. He has a good heart, you find out. It seems like kind of despicable that he would even bother believing anything his father says, but he was raised by this tyrant of a man, so he has all these terrible things thrown at him constantly, but he sees injustices and he wants to change them. He just doesn't know how. Zaylee is very strong-minded. She's very straightforward and she's very rash. She just does things. She just is very instinctive, and then she thinks after, and sometimes that can be a good thing. Sometimes it makes her a good leader because she doesn't necessarily hesitate, but sometimes she needs to stop and think a little bit. Her brother is one of the main characters in the story as well, although we never get his perspectives, and he's very much the opposite of his sister. He actually does think, and he's kind of constantly having to pick up her mess. Anytime that she ruins things for them or she gets them caught up in these terrible situations, he's always the one that's trying to pull them out of it, and I loved getting to see their relationship and their bond. They do argue, they're siblings, they butt heads, but I think that their relationship is one that you don't see very often in very many fantasy books. My favorite character, though, was definitely Amari. I think Amari is probably one of my new favorite characters of all time, and the reason is Zaylee is, I find, your more stereotypical female character that is in modern books. And Amari is extremely compassionate, and she's so kind. And I think it's really tricky to show those personality traits without making those characters seem weak. And the author did such a great job of making Amari seem strong, but not in your typical, I can just curse everybody and like fight everybody and that's what makes me strong. Also, towards the end of the book, Amari ends up having one of the coolest moments, one of the coolest lines, so she gets her like cool points in there, but she's also so nice and so kind, and I love that because there's different kinds of strengths, and I think that the author did such an amazing job of showing that. The writing itself in this book I thought was done so well. The writing is great, and it's I think, really difficult to do what the author did. And she wrote a multiple point of view book where all the perspectives are in first person. And the reason that I think that this is difficult is because it's so hard to differentiate characters when they're all first person. You would think it would be easier because you're literally directly in those characters' heads. So you would think everything is going to feel so much more like them. But at the root of things, human beings, they're going to experience things. And so they're going to be describing those experiences to you, and it's really hard to give each of those characters their own voice. Adeyemi remedies this, though, by giving each of the characters a lot of memories that they draw on when they go through their experiences. If you've read Six of Crows, it reminded me a little bit of that. Six of Crows is more flashbacks, and this one felt more like memories because it didn't feel like I was suddenly thrown into the past for pages and pages and pages, but something would happen and then a character would remember, when I was a child and my brother and I were little, this and this would happen and stuff. And it didn't disrupt the story, it enriched it. There is definitely a lot of action from beginning to end. So that's really good. Those of you that are fans of action, you're always kind of craving something to happen. There aren't really any moments that they're just sitting around and nothing's going on. There's always something pushing the plot forward. One tiny thing about the very beginning of the book that I thought felt a little, it pulled me out of the book just a tiny bit, was whenever you have a unique, fantastical world, it is very difficult to get the reader to know what's going on without being like, let's pause for a second and then explain everything and then unpause. There was a little bit of a moment like that at the beginning of the book. It felt a little like info dumpy, but other than that, I never felt too pulled out of the story by anything else like that. The little bit about this book that I didn't love did have to do with the romance in some ways. When I reflected on how much time passed in the book, I did feel that some of the feelings that developed might have developed a little too quickly, especially given the things that have happened in the book that I personally would not have been able to get over. I'm not going to say who the characters are because I don't want to give away any spoilers, but for me, one of the romances in the book, it just felt a little too unrealistic. Anyway, for those of you that haven't read the book but are interested in it, let me know. And for those of you that have read it and you want to chat about it, let me know that too. But anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the little bell icon to get notified when I post new videos, and check out some more of my videos right over here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.